have not slept in days. We'll see what they reckon ahead of Sunday's game at Semple Stadium. The Irish hockey team, meanwhile, play a World Cup quarter-final tomorrow in London, 6 o'clock start. We will check in with their head coach, Graham Shaw, in about 25 minutes' time. Dan McDonnell is over in Cyprus. He'll be coming to us from Larnaca, where Dundalk are 0-0 ahead of their second leg tomorrow in Europe. 53106 is the text number. We are at Off the Ball on Twitter. Richie McCormick here in studio. Hello.
How are you, Joe?
And Cliona Foley, journalist, presenter of Off the Bench, and most importantly, Sunday Paper Review regular.
Hi, Joe.
Studio. Cliona, how you doing? So you've been over covering the hockey team over the last while. I know you were over there watching one of their games. Graham Shaw is going to join us around 7:30 or so on the eve of a World Cup quarter-final. So, you know, much appreciated, Graham, because that's not too regular a thing.
Amazing, yeah.
They're an impressive bunch. He's very impressive as well. I've heard him speak a few times.
Yeah, he is. And I was really interested by, there's a piece in the Irish Times today with Stephen Fidler, and they're saying that they embraced the whole publicity thing because they sort of, two reasons. One, you know, they've never been to this position before. A lot of managers would suddenly close everything down, but they haven't over the last week. But two, they also feel that it's part of their remit to sort of publicise the game and get publicity for the game, which is interesting.
Yeah.
You know, because we, as I said, we were, you know, we were talking about it going outside, you know, about how Liam McCurley manager immediately comes in and says, right, we're closing all the media down before the All-Ireland. And that is the very natural reaction that happens with managers now, but I think it's very refreshing. And I think his attitude was reflected in the players. They're constantly smiling. They're constantly laughing. But before and after every game, and even during the anthem, they look happy and relaxed, and that vibe seems to be coming from him.
It's an amazing thing, really. I mean, it was talked about with Gareth Southgate in England as well, how underestimated a thing is to just make sure everyone's having a good time. Like, let's not be miserable and weighed down by the whole thing, as at least a starting point, if nothing else. Yeah,
and I think, you know, it's one of the things that disappoints me somewhat in Gaelic games in recent years is that I don't see that joy in players when they get to All-Ireland and semi-finals and finals, because they seem to be so tense and everything seems to be so serious and so stressed out. And I think sometimes players can benefit from feeling that joy and playing with that joy. You know, it's really obvious. There's a really interesting thing happening with this World Cup, Joe, which is that because Ireland won their group, they've ended up on the side of the draw that doesn't have the top 5 teams. And that's something that's gone unnoticed, I think. So if they beat India, right, the other teams on their side are not the higher seeds. The other quarterfinals have England against Holland, which is 2v1, which is a rematch of the last Olympic final. And the other quarterfinal on that side is Germany, Spain, and there again, Germany, Spain. No, it isn't. It is Australia, Argentina, and again, they're amongst the top 6 seeds. So the top 6 seeds are all on the other side.
See, this is why they don't like the media. You're getting ahead of yourself. Each game as it comes.
Exactly, and that's the mantra over there. But I can't help looking ahead because Argentina are 3rd seeds and Australia are 5th seeds, and I just can't help thinking, oh my goodness. And the great thing is, do you know when Ireland, in any sport, get to this stage of a tournament and we're often thinking, oh, we might get there, or, you know, they might fluke a goal, or, you know, they might, but we know they can beat India. So that's really interesting as well.
They literally have a few weeks ago. They literally have, and they've beaten them in their last few meetings as well. Okay. So that's interesting.
And India didn't look brilliant last night either.
Yeah, so, you know, I think they really are in a tremendous position.
Okay, well, very 7:30, and it's on RTE tomorrow. I mean, rear up the bandwagon. Once it gets to quarter-final stage,
we're all on it.
We're all kind of on, but we're all hockey experts.
I'm jumping on it as well.
Yeah. We're all experts. Which game were you out at over the last few weeks?
I was at the very first game.
Okay.
Yeah, the very first game against America, and they just played sensationally well that day. And America were 7th seeds, and they beat them 3-1. And just, you could sense that night just the freedom in their play and just how enthusiastic they were. And America came back at them, and they reacted brilliantly to it, you know. India tend to get a lot of penalty corners and have got a lot of penalty corners against them. You know, I think the ratio was like 12 or 13 the last day, and then they scored one. So that is the big challenge, I think, for them, is to cut down on the penalty corners they're conceding. I mean, their defence is brilliant. They're defending them brilliantly. You just don't want to be giving that many away, probably.
Because just statistically.
Yeah, and in hockey, you know, that ball travels at such speed and can nick a stick. You know, the goalkeeper is brilliant as well, and we should say she's one of the youngest players in the team, and she is just sensational. She's on a scholarship in America, and she seems to be afraid of nothing. And if you look at all of the international media, everybody has already tipped her as the goalkeeper of the tournament.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And these are all amateurs as well,
Aisha
is the other thing we should
McFarlane,
say.
yeah.
And so how do Ireland go about getting their goals? Are we like a counter-attacking team? Are we
absolutely counter-attacking team? Long ball out, immediately counter-attacking out of the circle, and then up front. And Roisin Upton, who was in here with us, Roisin is just brilliant vision. I mean, the balls they're clearing, they're really giving teams trouble with it. But I mean, the English game, we saw they defended. That, they will probably do that, but look to break on the counter, and that's how they score their goals.
Okay, great stuff. We will kick off our news round, which is brought to you this evening with Screwfix.ie, championing the trade with a choice of over 20,000 quality trade products. And we're talking about the Galway races, which Richie means we're talking about
Willie Mullins, a fifth winner for the trainer at this year's festival, the most recent being 11-8 favourite Diamond Hill, that won in a thrilling finish to the top maiden over the course of the last half hour. Mullins also saddles the favourite Patrick's Park in the feature race of day 3. That's the Galway Plate, and it's off at 7:20, so 12 minutes time to that one. The opening race of the day, the top maiden hurdle, was claimed by 10-1 shot City Island for trainer Martin Brazel. The Henry de Bromhead trained Black Key claimed the handicap hurdle at a price of 10-1, and 33-1 outsider Rovetta won the Mares handicap hurdle for trainer Jessica Harrington. Celtic should complete their progress to the Champions League third qualifying round tonight. Brendan Rodgers' side taking a 3-1 lead to Trondheim for the second leg of their tie with Rosenborg. Despite their 2-goal cushion, the Celtic boss is taking nothing for granted this evening.
It's a very good pitch. It will be a tough game, but of course we come with an advantage, and we feel that we can come here and play well. So, but like every European game away from home, you got to defend well, you got to be strong. And we know, as we've seen, that we can score goals.
Kick-off is at 7:45. Celtic line out with Craig Gordon in goal. A back four, Christian Gamboa, Jack Hendry, Christopher Ayer and Kieran Tierney. In midfield, it's Scott Brown, Callum McGregor and Olivier Ncham, with James Forrest and Scott Sinclair either side of record signing. Odsonne Edouard. As Dundalk prepare for tomorrow's second leg away to AEK Larnaca. They may have 9 events in Austria tonight. Ajax taking a 2-0 lead to Sturm Graz, with the losers of that one to face Stephen Kenny's side. The losers of Cork, of course, of Rosenborg and Celtic will place Cork City in the third qualifying round of the Europa League.
Yeah, I caught up with Dan McDonald earlier on. We're going to play that interview out around 20 to 9 or so. He was just out of the Stephen Kenny's press conference. So
he was just away from the pool, Joe, come on.
yeah. There was splashing in the background. Music. So he was saying that this is really finely balanced. 0-0 from the first leg. That Larnaca are generally considered to be favourites, but Dundalk have a great chance. They've scored 9 times in the last 10 away goals. In Europe, they've managed to score away goals. So they certainly have a chance. But it's going to be 36 degrees tomorrow?
36 degrees tomorrow, about 6:30 local time, 4:30 Irish time tomorrow afternoon. If today's temperatures and the forecast on AccuWeather are anything to go by, then Dundalk are going to be in for a thirsty one tomorrow evening.
No, we're not built for it. Although the Irish hockey team beat India in 33 degrees.
In 33 degrees, they did, yeah.
They spent a lot of their winter running around the Curragh. Didn't we read that in the papers the weekend? They're actually a very fit team.
They're incredibly fit, yeah. They did one of those weekends with the army in the Curragh.
Yeah.
Stood to them that day, because India were literally melting in the heat.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see how Dundalk cope with all that. We'll play out that interview with Dan, as I said, maybe around 20 to 9 or so.
Seani Maguire looks set to be ruled out of the Republic of Ireland's first 2 games of the international season. The striker taken off during Preston's friendly with Oldham this week, with scans revealing a hamstring issue much worse than first feared. Preston boss Alex Neil says Maguire will be missing for, he says, the best part of a couple of months. That would rule the former Cork striker out of Ireland's Nations League opener away to Wales and the friendly with Poland that comes a few days later. Now, if Stephen Rochford is to stay on as Mayo manager, it appears that he'll have to seriously reorganise his backroom team. It's been reported that selector Donny Buckley and goalkeeping coach Peter Burke are to leave their roles, while Tony McEntee is another that could be stepping away from the setup. Mayo, of course, dumped out of the football championship in Newbridge with that qualifier loss to Kildare, and Rochford himself is set to meet with the Mayo County Board next week.
Be interesting to see if he stays on. I mean, even a few of the players, the likes of Keith Higgins, 34, Andy Moran, although it seems Andy Moran you'll have to literally drag away. I mean, because
he's now playing better than he's ever played in his life, and is fitter than he's ever in his life. He's got his own gym, doesn't he? So
he does, yeah.
I mean, Donny Buckley would be very interesting because he is regarded as a really smart tactical coach who, and a guy who does a lot of one-on-ones with people as well. So it'd be very interesting to see. I think he's got Stephen Rochford has another year. He's I think GA managers are always very careful to say they don't sign contracts because they're amateur. But he had agreed to stay on for another 2 years, so technically he has a year to go.
Yeah.
But he is meeting with the board next week.
Yeah, I guess those agreements aren't worth very much in the grand scheme of things. So
doesn't look great when your entire backroom team is jumping ship.
No,
not
almost
ideal.
in its entirety.
Not ideal, to say the least. It's great to see the women's hockey team getting plenty of coverage. Lowest ranked team left, but they'll fancy their chances against anyone. That says it all, says Mark in Swords.
Yeah, that other half of the draw is a pig. When you see the Netherlands pulling out results like 12-1 in the pool stages against rather handy outfits, you're like worried that you'll end up facing them at some stage. So
preferably in the final.
Preferably in the final. Just India and Germany or Spain to go through.
So where are we going next?
Next we will head to Belfast, it would seem, because the Irish Football Association say they would support any bid that would bring the World Cup finals to Northern Ireland. The English FA have agreed to carry out feasibility work into potentially bidding to host the 2030 edition of the tournament. One option is a joint proposal involving the other so-called home nations, similar to that has secured the World Cup for the United States, Mexico and Canada.
Do we get in on that act? Will they consider us one of the home nations for a World Cup bid?
I'm sure John Delaney would start the phone calls as of this evening.
I mean, it'd be great. It would make sense. Imagine a World Cup game in Dublin.
2030 would finally give us a chance to get Casement Park redone.
Yes, as well.
Do it by then, couldn't it?
Well, Casement Park's not going to get redone. If it's not done by this stage, could be well waiting.
That has been a problem then.
Yeah, there's something going on there. Is it the planning permission, or there's just some constant issue?
Like there was planning issue for so long, and that was one of the issues. Was if we did get the Rugby World Cup, there was going to be an extreme push on it.
Right.
I don't know where it is right now.
Such is the scale of the World Cup at this stage, though, that a redeveloped Windsor Park might be feasible for 1 or 2 kind of group games, because we're up to the 40-18s by that stage. Got 25,000 or 20,000 in there.
Yeah. Jeez, you forget we're up to 40-18s at that stage.
Yeah, Group P, Joe. Group P.
Is there actually going to be a Group P?
There's a Group P.
Yeah. We'll park that one.
There's going to be a lot of dead rubbers by the time that 40-18 one comes around, isn't
Just
it?
hope I'm done in sport by that stage.
Yeah. So, this is interesting. So, Anthony Martial has responded. The last I heard, Jose Mourinho had, last night after the win against Madrid, was asked about Martial, and he basically just said, I don't know where he is, I don't know what he's doing, I don't know when he's coming back.
We'll hear a bit of that in a moment, but Anthony Martial has finally issued a public statement of sorts following talk he'd be fined £180,000 by his club Manchester United. The French international left United's pre-season tour to the United States to attend the birth of his son last week, but did not return. That hasn't gone down well with Mourinho, with the start of the Premier League season just over a week away. Martial is set to be fined 2 weeks' wages for his absence. Today he tweeted, and this is translated from French, thank you all for your messages. My little swan is well. It was more difficult for the mum, but thanks to God she is better now. I'm sorry, but my family will always come first. Back in Manchester tomorrow. And then there was a muscle flexi emoji. Mourinho says the trip to the States was all but pointless.
I didn't learn anything. I know what...
tactically?
I know what Herrera is. I know what Mata is. I know what Sanchez is. I know what they are. I know that the kids are very young. I know that the kids, they need time to grow up. The boys, they tried everything. They give everything. They know that we have always to try to fight for the best result. But tactically means nothing. I just tried with the players we had available to try to organize the best possible team to play against them.
Martial has gone home.
Yeah.
Will he be back with the group when you go back? Because you didn't mention him there.
I don't know.
You're loving this, aren't you?
I don't even know what he's doing. It does feel like self-sabotage. We did a really good piece with Andy Minton yesterday, who's over in Miami, and Andy's generally reasonably defensive. He's the editor of the magazine. It's not propaganda, but he will always take a very fair view of things. And even he doesn't really understand what Mourinho's been doing for the last 2 weeks. Like, it's just relentlessly odd behaviour, miserable, firing shots at everybody, his players.
It's like a sulky child, isn't he?
It's bizarre stuff. Here, come here. Is Swan the name of the kid?
Yeah, that's exactly my question to Richie. Yeah. It's a boy called
It's capitalised Swan. Yeah, boy called Swan.
We've had Apple, we've had Storm.
You can't call a little boy Swan.
Famous people should not be allowed to name children. It should be left open to a panel of the proletariat.
Ridiculous. Swan. I'm delighted.
Martial. It is a good name for a footballer, though, isn't it?
It is pretty. Look, he'd be a
That'd
sensation.
Be pretty cool football
Swan
name.
Martial. Fair enough. It works. It actually works.
It works for the headlines as well.
He eventually can't be like a big lumbering 6'4" centre half.
No,
that just doesn't work.
No, he needs to be light on his feet.
A lithe winger.
Swan Martial works. I completely take it back. It's an unbelievable name. Oh dear. And so, yeah, Mourinho, I don't know, we'll just have to see how this all plays out. But
him leaving by November.
It does feel like we're into the right on time Mourinho third season meltdown. It's I literally don't see what his end game here is, to basically be miserable and offensive to everyone.
The Harry Maguire thing is dead in the water, according to those people who kind of know about it as well now. Okay. Seemingly he's going to get an improved contract at Leicester, and their attentions have now turned to, and you know you're worrying when you're turning to somebody who's performed well in the World Cup and hasn't registered on your radar till then. Yeah. But Yerry Mina at Barcelona, the Colombian centre half, is the next port of call for United. So
okay.
Yeah.
Everton have made a signing?
Yeah, they finally completed the signing of French international Lucas Digne. The left-back has signed a 5-year contract at Goodison Park in a deal that could eventually net his former club Barcelona £20 million. Digne is Everton's second arrival of the summer, following that of Richarlison from Watford for £40 million just last week.
The last big signing I remember being a post-major tournament signing, Jordi Cruyff and Karl Poborski. They were the two big ones for Manchester United, Euro 96.
Euro 96. Yeah.
I mean, it's a fool's game. James, I guess, was a big one.
There was a good...
James's value went up by about 100 million.
Yeah, that was
what he's actually sold for.
That was the outlier. I can't remember who wrote the article. It might have been in The Guardian a couple of weeks ago, but saying that anybody, and there are scouts who'll admit this, that anybody who is buying players off the back of World Cup clearly hasn't done their homework as regards recruitment. Like they should know about players who are playing in the World Cup before they set foot.
And also, you're getting them at their most expensive time, presumably. Exactly. If everybody's looking for them and they've done really well. So.
Like Yerry Mina's not wanted at Barcelona, and yet suddenly United will end up paying 48 million quid for him because they need a centre half. I mean, it's lunacy.
Yeah. I don't understand any, but it's nuts.
This Mickey, I mean, okay, right. So the Mickey Hart thing, then, where are we?
Yeah. Mickey Hart is refusing to shed any more light on why the Healy Park pitch was narrowed for their recent Super 8 defeat to Dublin. The Tyrone manager claimed after the game that the pitch dimensions in Omagh were changed following a request from the match broadcasters Sky. But after that, Sky since clarified that they did not, nor would they, make such a request. Speaking out of Tyrone's final group game with Donegal, Hart claimed the matter was, quote, over and done with, and that he doesn't want to talk about it again.
It was rather overdone with, I think. It was rather overdone. My favourite reaction to that was on the night when Jim Gavin was asked about it, and I thought his answer was so brilliantly bitchy, because he said it just brought our forwards closer to the goal.
Mulligan, I think he said that they did it in an effort to prepare Tyrone for the Ballybuffet pitch this coming week.
It was to that the Dublin game wasn't even the most important game, it was to mimic the tight pitch at Ballybuffet. That's why they've done it.
Well, that's interesting. At least that in some ways actually that makes some sense. But it does give you some level of insight into the level of preparation and thought that goes into these things. But a lot of people couldn't understand it.
Just say
it's interesting.
Yeah, we did it because look, we have our reasons. We just narrowed the pitch. Don't just say it was Sky, and then Sky, of course, are going to be asked about it. Or Sky
they
are
were asked on the night, and those people from Sky on the night said no, we didn't. So they said straight away that it hadn't happened.
He didn't think that one through to step 2 of the plan.
Sky will never have a press office. It's fine.
Yeah. Where are we going next?
Adam Morgan's spell at Sligo Rovers has come to an end. The former Liverpool strikers left the showgrounds by mutual consent after playing only 6 minutes of football since mid-May. His Sligo career started with 4 goals in his first 6 games. He hasn't scored since then. Struggled with injuries, to be fair, during his time with the Bit of Red. Meanwhile, Sligo have confirmed they're taking up the place in the Iron Brew Scottish Challenge Cup, left vacant by Bray Wanderers. So good luck to them. Them and Bohemians will be competing alongside the likes of Rangers under-20s and TNS from Wales. As we mentioned, the Women's World Cup quarter-finals are underway in London. They are into the 4th quarter. In the first of those quarters, and it's still Germany 0, Spain 0. That match will be followed by the clash, as Cliona mentioned, of Argentina and Australia at 8:15. Ireland, of course, playing India in their quarter-final. It's the earlier match tomorrow evening.
And sorry, who do we want to win between Argentina and Australia, or does it matter?
We don't care because they're on the other side of the draw. That's the really great thing. It's Germany and Spain is the one, and ideally Spain, because Germany would be ranked higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
Liverpool's promising teenager Ben Woodburn, he has been sent out on loan to Sheffield United. The Welsh international forward will spend the season at the Championship club, which is now laden, of course, with Irish internationals following the signings of John Egan and David McGoldrick in recent weeks. The feature race on day 2 of Glorious Goodwood today was the Sussex Stakes. Killarney jockey Ushi Murphy guided 9-1 chance Lightning Spear to victory in the Group 1 this afternoon. Murphy says the slower pace of this afternoon's race suited Lightning Spear.
Pace was slow, but he relaxed. I got a little bit of cover off James Doyle, and I had a very good horse late on. But he loves to fill up, and you could see his turn of foot, and very special. But Jenny, Simcock and David, the job they've done phenomenal.
O'Shea Murphy there. Elsewhere, Argentina will have a new head coach when they visit the Aviva in November. Former Pumas hooker Mario Ledesma has replaced Daniel Hurcade, who resigned after a poor string of results in the summer. Ledesma leaves his role as Super Rugby side Jaguares head coach and has previously worked with forwards coach, under Michael Cheika with Australia. Ireland face Argentina in the second of the Rotterdam Internationals on November 10th. That is the week before the All Blacks come to town.
Enda Shields on Twitter. There's only Swan Martial. Take it there, Enda. Well played, Enda.
There's so many headlines coming, Enda.
Some neck on him. Pierluigi Cliona, I'm not better than that, Joe, you've covered this before, has stepped down as UEFA's chief refereeing officer. The former official, who retired in 2005 himself, has been in the role for 8 years and said he's left the position for, as he says, personal reasons. Cliona has been replaced by his fellow former Italian referee Roberto Rossetti. Meanwhile, Shane Ryan heads up the Ireland team confirmed for the upcoming European Swimming Championships in Glasgow. The Olympic semi-finalist, along with Newton Abbey teenager Conor Ferguson, will be in the pool for the heats of the 50-metre backstroke on Friday. Ryan's also part of the 4x100 metre relay team, which will be on action the day after tomorrow. Sligo's teenage sensation Mona McSharry will be the first Irish woman to enter competition. That's in Saturday's 100 metre breaststroke heats. Burnley manager Sean Dyche says the operation on goalkeeper Nick Pope's injured shoulder seems to have gone well. The England international dislocated it during last week's 1-1 draw with Aberdeen in the Europa League qualifiers. Dyche has also revealed that the club are seeking special dispensation from UEFA to bring in another goalkeeper for tomorrow's second leg. While England internationals Mako and Billy Vunipola have signed new 4-year contracts with Premiership champions Saracens, the brothers have committed to the club until 2022. Mako joined from Bristol in 2011, with number 8 Billy moving from Wasps 2 years after that. The duo have played the major role in Saracens' recent success, winning 3 Premiership titles and 2 European Cups over the course of the past 4 years.
Richie, thanks for that. I won't lie, I know you did your best. That will go down as a slow news day.
It is.
Yeah.
Spain have taken the lead, Joe. In the Hockey World Cup quarterfinals, Spain have taken the lead in the past couple of moments.
Okay, we'll keep you updated on that. We'll be talking to Graham Shaw in just a moment. And I should remind you, we have a very special show this Saturday, Off the Ball, heading to Cork, the 4th of August. And there's going to be a special Cork panel at Porky Queeve. So Cliona's going to be there in the hot seat, hosting. No pressure. Sonia O'Sullivan will be there. Great to have Sonia O'Sullivan there. Rena Buckley will be there. We'll have journalist Kieran McCarthy, and we'll have Christine O'Donovan as well, who's Deputy Director of Sport at UCC. So that's going to be Saturday afternoon around 1:30 or so. And if you want to get tickets, do come along. Go to offtheball.com/events. So offtheball.com/events, where I presume for part of it you'll be asking them why Cork people are so good at sport, frankly.
That could take the entire afternoon.
Yeah. Are they the best county?
Well, I don't know how you would judge
Neither do I. I've asked that question without thinking it through.
But my one is that there's something about them that is undeniably defiant and also
arrogant.
No, I wouldn't say arrogant.
I
wouldn't say arrogant.
No,
I just think they're unbelievably gritty. You know, everybody from Rona Garrett, Sonia Sullivan, they just are the kind of people that, first of all, they don't give up, and secondly, they're not afraid to go outside and look and take everything they can get from everybody else and become the best in the world. I just think they have fascinating. It's fascinating that so many great individual athletes in Ireland have come from Cork.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it was amazing to even think, when you do think about it, that Dennis Irwin and Roy Keane were playing for Man United, winning the treble. Yeah. I mean, when you stop and think about the likelihood of that happening, it's just incredible.
And very different personalities.
Entirely, yeah. I mean, well, for sure. I mean, I'd love to get Dennis's honest thoughts on rooming with Roy sometimes. But I guess Dennis, in his own way, is incredibly gritty and
driven. Exactly. Not that they don't. It isn't that not all of them are
combustible.
Combustible. Very good word. But that they all have that. Just never say die attitude is amazing.
Like, I wonder what you would have had to do to make Dennis Irwin give up on something. A lot, I would dare say. Like, every bit as much as Roy Keane in his own kind of quiet way.
And probably has a combustion point as well, clearly.
Probably does.
Well. Everybody has.
Yeah,
But you're right, yeah.
So Sonia's going to be there. I guess you got to ask her about watching her daughter. That was the video which went viral in the last few days.
Yeah,
amazing.
I love that video because I think, and I will ask her about it, but I think she got a little bit of a touch of how we all felt watching her for years.
Yeah. Or what it was like for her parents watching her.
And what it was like for her parents and also for the rest of the country, because we, for so long she was top of the world stage and we watched her for so long.
Sonia, when you listen to her talk sometimes, like she's tough enough. Sometimes she'll come out with the odd interview here and there, and it will boil down to, well, Irish athletes need to toughen up a little bit.
And she's often said that.
You know, like start competing. Stop with all these excuses and, you know, blah, 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 blah. Like, she's no nonsense in her own very quiet way.
Yeah, and I think also the fact that she went into the American collegiate system where they raced an awful lot. You know, some argue they raced too much out there.
Right.
But she feels strongly about needing to race. You've got to be a good racer.
As opposed to just training all the time.
Athlete. You've got to be out there racing, putting yourself against. So I think she feels strongly that as well. That's one of her critiques. That
maybe some athletes overtrain, don't focus enough on
and that people at home, because they're based here and struggle to get into competitions, which is very hard actually to get into. You know, you have to run brilliant times to get into Diamond League meets, like Tom Barr, you know, is good enough to do that. But then it's very hard to get into those medium ranked ones, you know, even to get, but if you talk to them, I mean, they lead fascinating lives, because very often somebody like Phil Healy, for the last few years, you know, her summers are spent hopping on a plane and flying to some very small track in Europe to get good weather and a good race, and she'd bunk in with somebody she's never met before, possibly some stranger. The meet will take her, put her up with another sprinter in a room. She runs, she races, she gets out, she's home the next morning.
Yeah.
It's a tough lifestyle.
Yeah, you would never think it's that frugal behind the scenes.
It is very frugal behind the scenes.
Watching them turning up in front of a track and running, because there's an element of glamour to the sport.
Yeah, but only for the tiny top percentage.
Yeah,
I mean, even smaller. I always think with racing, and people are in Galway at the moment enjoying it. Like, it's only the top jockeys that get those top rides. It's the guys and girls in the middle who are struggling on horses that aren't the same quality. They're the ones that are having a really, really tough time.
Yeah, for sure, and whose lives are equally at risk as they fly around at 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour. We're taking a short, quick break. So after 8 o'clock, Tommy Welch and Di Regan. I can only begin to imagine how excited Tommy Welch is with life right now. And then we'll talk to Dan McDonald. But up next, we're going to check in with the Irish hockey head coach, Graham Shaw. That's coming up.
Off the Ball on News Talk.
Thanks to Screwfix.ie. Championing the trade with a choice of over 20,000 quality trade products.
You talked about our waiting list figures, and you basically said we're an international laughing stock.
That's right, Shane. Various different targets are bandied about by different health ministers when they come in. So we've had a year target, 15 months. At present, it's in the order of 18 months. And just to give you a bit of perspective, in Britain, the target is 18 weeks. So we are a laughing stock. These targets are nothing short of a joke.
Hear the full News Talk Breakfast podcast at newstalk.com and on the News Talk app.
Get that summer festival feeling at Bulmer's Live at Leopardstown, with thrilling Thursday evenings of racing, music and festival food. The lineup includes Smokey and the Water Boys. Admission to racing and concert only €20. Bulmer's Live at Leopardstown.
Book tickets now on leopardstown.com or call 01 289 0500. Enjoy Bulmer's responsibly. Visit bulmers.ie.
Hi, I'm Brendan Kavanagh, CEO of GDPRcourse.com. GDPR became law on Friday, May 25th. Are you worried that your business, volunteer organisation or club is at risk of being fined? We now run daily accredited GDPR practical implementation courses at our nationwide training facilities. This course gives members of your organisation tasked with GDPR the practical tools to implement and maintain GDPR compliance. Don't get ripped off by expensive consultants. Go to GDPRcourse.com.